Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Open Taoist Doorways into the Woo with Stones and Crystals, Ancient Healing Practices for Calming Your Nervous System and Grounding Your Energy. My name is Stephen Dyna. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and I love days like today because I'm getting to learn something new right alongside with you. We're going to be diving into the healing powers of stones and crystals in some really interesting terrain with a pioneer in this arena. Her name is Sarah Thomas. She's the founder of the Upper Clarity School of Stone Medicine. We'll learn more about that and really get to explore some deeper layers of how stones and crystals can become allies in our healing path. So, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Stephen. Very happy to be with you all.
Great. Well, I'm excited to dive in and learn more. And I know that we're going to have a brand new program with you that we're going to have a chance to go much further. It's called Taoist Doorways into the Woo, and we're going to be sharing more about that towards the end of the hour. So, Sarah, I always like to start before we dive into the core teachings with a little bit of backstory of really what put you on this path to working with stone medicine.
I was a kid growing up in Pittsburgh in the suburbs, and I didn't go camping a lot, or I was in the outdoors all the time, but I wasn't really introduced to the medicine of the outdoors until I got older. And I fell in love with stones, and I would just stare at them. I would be mesmerized by them, and I would always be looking at crystals and giving crystals as gifts. And I got on the path of going to acupuncture school, and this was total destiny for me. And a complete surprise for me. I was an artist, and suddenly I was in acupuncture school and I felt so at home. And then I began to take, a secret study almost of stone medicine as I was coming out of acupuncture school. And I would travel up to New York City and take these amazing, deep stone medicine classes as stones and crystals are truly underground and then resurfacing again. I mean, there's a resurrection going on with stone medicine, and I have not missed a class or a engagement with stones or a teaching in, I mean, almost 20 years now. I've been fully in love with this body of earth medicine.
Hmm. Fascinating background, and it's interesting that you were drawn into working with acupuncture. And maybe it would be good at this, at the outset to talk a little bit about the root systems of stone medicine in Chinese healing practice as well.
Yeah, cultures all over the world use stones. And if you've ever run into a real shaman or a real woo, they've had stones with them. So this is happening in deep medicine cultures all over the world. I think what stands out with ancient Taoist China is that they had a catalog system of really recording all the properties of so many stones and a way of writing this all down and collecting all this material in a way that other cultures did not. And as a Taoist, we see everything as medicine. We see everything as alive. So, of course, stones are alive. You can still walk into a hospital today in China and choose to get herbal medicine and stone medicine as part of your treatment. So, everything is within the circle of medicine and life and Taoism. We don't leave anything out. So this has been a study that you all know that it's been connected to alchemy, turning lead into gold, spiritual transcendence, and stones to the ancient Taoists were the laboratory of all possibility. They are truly the creation codes for life. So this is the most underutilized earth medicine in the world today, I
Mm.
believe.
And so you mentioned the term woo, and a lot of folks may not be familiar with that. So what is the centrality of woo in the Taoist framework?
That is, you know, have you ever had someone like weird in your neighborhood that was kind of on the outskirts of the neighborhood, maybe a little bit different, and maybe lived at the edge of the village or something, but they also knew things and they weren't exactly like centrally part of the society or went to the schools. And sometimes they would be ridiculed even, but they're also the same person that you would bring your child to if it was sick and needed help. It's also the same person that we call on for help. It's also the same person that we know is doing the spiritual work for the whole village. And the roots of the word actually go back to women. Women were woo. Women weren't allowed to study in the schools and get the same foundational lineage knowledge as men. And women did extraordinary healing work. And the truth about the woo is that it's undefinable. It's something that's undefinable. So I can't wait to share more about that as we go further.
And what is it about stones and crystals that really provide a unique portal into the woo?
Oh, well, thank you for saying portal. So, you know, stones are the fundamental essence of all of life. We get everything that we need from the plant kingdom. The plant kingdom gets everything that it needs from the stones and crystals. So if you look at the periodic table of the elements, you're looking at the essence of life. And inside the periodic table are literally the codes of creation, transformation, alchemy, all healing. And then it moves further into, out of materiality and into immateriality, where we can actually transcend the consciousness that we are in through stones. It's something about getting down to the depth of materiality and the depth of density that actually does this kind of dualism reversal, and we end up in formlessness, right? At the depth of form, we find formlessness. And that's kind of one of the cool secrets about stones.
I love that. And a lot of provocative terms like codes of creation. So share a little bit more about like what would be an example of how you could see the codes of creation in a particular stone or crystal in the periodic table as an example.
Well, let's look at, some of the stones that we're going to talk about today are the reason why they are so perfect for healing and restoring the nervous system is the classifications or attributes that make them up. So let's just do a really simple example. Like if you look at a stone has magnesium in it, yes, it materially has magnesium in it. You could conceptually, yes, you could crush it up and drink it to get magnesium. Now there's other ways we get magnesium that are easier these days, but what magnesium really is, it's a law of signature and it's a vibration. And when we interact with magnesium as a vibration, we actually soothe the parasympathetic nervous system. We alkalize the parasympathetic nervous system. And animals that go into hibernation, the magnesium levels in their body go up. So we've learned that just by a stone having magnesium, it actually helps us turn inward. And
Hmm.
so that becomes really important. And it's just like one of the ways that these classifications or material constituents become vibrational medicine and vibrational healing.
That's fascinating because I know a lot of sleep aids include magnesium as well. And so it's sort of because of the deeper properties, not just because it's like fitting a chemical lock and key, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And that's the woo. It's like we can look at classifications, we can look at knowledge, we can look at lineage, and there's going to be a point where we step out and it all becomes vibrational and multidimensional and it all becomes arising in the present moment. And I feel like that's the challenge and the opportunity of really working with stones at at the potential that they're able to work.
Hmm. So let's go further into the nervous system and the grounding and healing of the nervous system. So, what other stones are really central to the toolkit that you want to be working with in terms of stone medicine?
You know, so a big one that I just, this is just like one of the most underutilized tips in the whole world for healing, and not just with stones and not just for the nervous system, like all around. So hematite is a stone that hematite is an iron oxide. We see this occur. People probably have hematite, but they don't realize what a powerhouse this stone is for healing the nervous system. And one of the things that we have with hematite is that we have this great high specific gravity or density. So it's very heavy. And things that are heavy, they sink and they go into the deepest parts of who we are. So when we work with hematite, we are actually, it's almost like working with a weighted blanket. And for the nervous system, weighted blankets have had so much good effect for us. And they actually they make us release oxytocin. They make us feel like we're at home and we're safe with our mother and we're calm, like that we're back in a calm and safe place. Hematite has this density that goes down and calms the nervous system. And it also nourishes blood. It actually can create hemoglobin. So hemoglobin, it's like the bloodstone. It's full of iron. And if you think of being hangry or like a baby who's crying because they need to eat, when we give iron to the body, we fill up in this way where we just go, oh, now I can relax. And so hematite is such an important stone to put on the body to just let us fill up from the inside. And we go, now I can lay on the table and receive this treatment.
Hmm.
It's also red and black. So it's gray, black, right? It's like a steel color. But if you scratch with hematite, you're going to get a red streak. And red and black is a really powerful color combination that goes to the kidney and heart. And that's where we want to go to heal the nervous system as
Hmm.
well.
I would imagine there's a science behind where you place the hematite on the body, and so maybe we can't be comprehensive here, but give a little example of how you might use different parts of the body or place it in different places for different effects.
Yeah, there is, there's so much, obviously, a beautiful world of artistry when you start to align stones with the acupuncture meridians and acupuncture points. And I really believe in the chakras. I believe that they are real and they are storehouses for all of our programs and karmas and samskaras, and they're like Akashic record keepers. And we're going to work with hematite from a chakra perspective because we're all familiar with that. We work with that a lot at the root chakra or the perineum, or you can even ask someone to tuck it up against their perineum on the table if they're laying down or if you're treating your child or something. So keeping it on the pelvis, low on the body, it is amazing right at the root chakra because the density. So it starts to draw everything down.
Hmm. So you might look at like where do you feel the imbalances or what imbalances you feel, then like what are those associated with, and use the hematite on that specific chakra.
Yeah, and certain stones have a very powerful resonance with certain chakras. So you can work with chakras too. Yeah.
Hmm. Fascinating. What
Mhm.
other stones are really key to include in our looking at how to balance the nervous system?
Well, what I want to say too is I chose these stones like for the nervous system because they're also stones that are really accessible and that you can get in large chunks because I want to take advantage of the materiality of the stones and the heaviness of the stones. So all of these stones that I'm going to talk about, you can actually lay them on the body, get the vibrational effect, but also get the weighted blanket effect. You can use the materiality to actually calm the nervous system, which loves touch, right? It loves that weight. Amazonite is another stone that's just a heal all for the nervous system. Amazonite's the blue green feldspar. It's in the feldspar family. Labradorite's in the same family. And Amazonite is, I would call it a adaptogen, raising our threshold for stress. I would call it a nervine because it calms the nerves. And if you go back in the ancient texts, you'll see that it soothes fear, it calms fear. It's one of the most soothing and calming stones that we have. It is great for kids and pets. One of the things too about Amazonite is that it's formed at all three layers of the earth. So the igneous layer, the metamorphic layer, the sedimentary layer. And when a stone is formed at all the layers, you realize that there's a forgiveness about it, a versatility about it, an adaptability about it. And the way that that translates is when you don't know what to do, you can do Amazonite and it'll work it out for you. It's almost like a chi balancer. Or if you're working with someone who has a lot of complex health issues or is on a lot of complex medications, Amazonite is always safe, it's always gentle, and it's always calming and soothing. It actually pulls all the kidney chi that has been scattered from fear, fright, or shock and gathers it back into the kidney where it can rest.
Do you want to dive into any demonstrations with the stones right now, or you want to kind of give more of an overview of some others?
Do you mind if I share a couple more because they're
Yeah,
so I
let's
can just
let's let's go
briefly
for it.
touch on just because they're so, I feel like for you all to be able to work with your kids, work with your pets, work with yourself, there are a couple others that are just really important. So obsidian, black obsidian is a great stone to have in your nervous system healing toolkit, especially if there's been shock, fright, or an instant sudden impact or a trauma. Obsidian is able to take all of that and kind of drain those imprints from the body and field and then put new imprints in the body and the field that build the field back up. And that stone is really wonderful on the solar plexus chakra
Hmm.
to put obsidian there. So when you think of obsidian, think of shock. Think of if something just happened to me and now I feel like I'm shaking. That's when you want to work with obsidian. And another one is tourmaline, black tourmaline. It works so fast. It's so great for acute flare-ups, like a panic attack or just a big moment of overwhelm or a moment of PTSD. As soon as you hold a piece of black tourmaline, you ground. So all of these stones are really grounding. There's a density to it. It is very mineral rich. It starts to fill you back up. And another one that I want to put out there is lepidolite. And lepidolite is our purple mica. And so now we've moved into purple, which is great. Purple resonates with the kidney and the heart, and that's where we are in the nervous system. And the purple mica is, mica is another one of the most underutilized medicines on earth. It is such a powerful healer, and it's gentle. And you can have such a deep healing with mica, just layer by layer by layer by layer. And when you have lepidolite, you have the lithium rich mica. And you know that lithium resets us, it restores our rhythm. It actually resets our nervous system. It's like going camping for a week. It just resets us. It gets us back in sync with things. And you also have manganese, which fills up our heart blood and just really calms us down. So we're so lucky on earth to have a purple mica. I'm not sure if all places have a purple mica, but lepidolite is another one that's just great for maintenance, like to keep it on you, to wear it. Amazonite and lepidolite are the two that are great for nervous system repair for the long term, where black tourmaline and obsidian are really great for just grabbing in the moment.
Well, that's a great overview. And I know there's so many stones we could work with, but maybe we could talk a little bit about how you can apply those kind of basic stones and categories in specific ways to the body.
Yes, well, let's talk about jewelry first. If you all can get a pendant of any one of these stones and just let it hang below your heart, let it get a little bit lower than your heart. So let it hang just like it's almost touching the root chakra of your heart. And let it just fall right there, and it's going to ground your heart energy and calm your shen into that stone. So it's a great placement as far as a jewelry pendant. And then another great thing to do is I have on stone bracelets, because the wrists are also have a lot of portals to the heart and the chest, and they're great gateway places for medicinal stones to work. And you can also do anklets. And another thing that, if y'all are working on nervous system repair, as far as rings, I would do a pinky ring, because this pinky finger also goes up to the heart. So imagine having like an obsidian pinky ring, and you want to make sure that the stone touches the skin. So if you can avoid getting one where there's a backing on the stone, where the stone actually touches the skin, or you can get rings that are pure obsidian. It's just a pure obsidian ring or a pure black tourmaline ring. And wearing those on the pinky fingers will actually just work the meridian of the heart and calms and grounds the heart. So those are the things that I would do with jewelry. And as far as working with these stones, so it's a little bit of a fun journey or a treasure hunt to find these stones in like bigger, weightier pieces. And imagine that you're treating your child or your friend. What I would do is go before bed at night and place these stones on the body, the ones that you have. You can let yourself be intuitively guided. You can work with the chakras, and leave those on for 20 minutes before bed. And you can do that. You can do it every night for 2 or 3 nights, and then just start doing a little rhythm, like one night on, 2 nights off, one night on, 2 nights off, and just create a little rhythm for the body. And then let the person, kind of see how their dreams change and their sleep changes, because the stones are going to calm the body before bed, but they also impart that vibrational information and, make a lasting change. So stay with it. And, kids are so good at this too, that you can say, put a treatment on me of these stones, and they'll just do it, and it'll be beautiful. And you can also give these to pets. All of these stones are safe for pets. So you don't want to put anything around a pet where they could swallow it, but you can put a big chunk of one of these stones in your iguana's enclosure or in your pet's bed, or get a little tag for your dog's collar. All of these things are safe and gentle for pets too.
Fascinating. There's so many different ways you can apply this
Yeah.
knowledge. So yeah, let's dive into how do you work with specific, like if you have specific imbalances, or you've mentioned a few different things, but how do you work from the other way is like, oh, I've got this going on, and then I want to diagnose it, and then what is that going to lead to in terms of a treatment plan for yourself?
Well, that's a good question, because, you know, another thing that's being steeped in Taoist medicine for so long, another thing that's really imprinted in me is that, there's no, this stone is for this condition. like this stone is for tinnitus or this stone is for back pain. In holistic medicine, it's like this stone is for this person, this stone is
Mm,
for this person. And we really watch the spirit and what the person needs, because knowledge is beautiful and we love to talk about knowledge. When you get to really work with someone and see your spirit, you see the woo arise and step in, because that person may have a stone that they need that is completely different from someone else with back pain or tinnitus. So
mm.
we really kind of, like with stone medicine, they're actually quite bossy and chatty too. They'll share with you what the person needs.
So you actually are sort of getting intuitive guidance from the essence of the stone or the stone spirit.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this have felt that same thing.
Hmm.
We call them bossy all the time because they'll be like, pick me up, pick me up. So they will tell you what to do.
That's very interesting. If you
Yeah.
don't have those channels open, how can do you, are there things you can do like muscle testing or getting a sense for sort of some other way to sort of get a sense for how the stone's going to specifically interact with your field?
I love that question. And that's actually why you and I, like, we're doing a course together, because we're going to move into how to work with these stones vibrationally through a foundational kit where no matter where you are on your journey, beginner or advanced, it's not about how many stones you know, it's about the intimacy that you have with each one.
Hmm.
Kind of come back and reset with each one and feel each one. That's actually what we're doing together in the class that's coming up.
So that would sort of imply that you kind of want to apprentice with each stone for a while. So you're kind of really getting to know it, which I've heard some shamans talk that way about different, you want to really get to know a plant. You got to work with it for quite a while before you're sort of then move on to something else.
Yeah, that's it. Stones are the same.
Stones are the same. Interesting. Are there other things that you want to share about just how to open that frequency of communication with stones?
Yeah, so honestly, there's so many ways. I love talking about this, just opening these doors with people, because our intuition is so amazing. We are quantum computers. I mean, that's another thing about the nervous system. It's like we are picking up and recording everything. And I love looking into, like, what is the practice that we can do? How can we feel this so we just remember how incredibly intuitive we are and how much we know? And one thing that I learned a long time ago, this is a very old teaching and it's worked so well. People email me about this a lot. But if you want to form a relationship with something, if you talk to it for 7 minutes a day, just sit and share your heart for 7 minutes a day. You can even set a timer. You will form a bond with that and it will start talking back to you. So you could do a practice where you talk to your land or your yard for 7 minutes a day, or you say, you know what, I really want to get to know obsidian. I'm going to talk to it for 7 minutes a day. And you just talk, even when you're walking or hiking, you just have that conversation with it. It's amazing what comes back. It's amazing the bond that you can develop. And from that comes trust and relationship and also activation and transformation.
Hmm. Beautiful. Well, I know you want to take us into a guided process as well, so give us a direct experience. So you want to tee that up now?
Sure, let's do it. So all that you all have to do is sit comfortably and relax and just let your eyes float closed and just let yourself come into this present moment. And truly, there's nothing to do. And as you relax, this is just going to take a few minutes, so it'll be brief. So just let yourself go there with me. You may have heard of plant spirit medicine, where we call the spirit of the plant and it comes in as frequency to do specific healings with us. We do that with stones too. I call it stone soul medicine. And as you start to relax, I'm going to take you through a process where some of the stones that we talked about today, we're going to bring those into your energy field for an experience with your nervous system right here. So I already feel them coming in and doing the work. So here's how we're going to begin. Stay steadfast. Those are going to stay in place as you allow your awareness to move up to your heart chakra. And the whole secret of the heart chakra is that when it grounds, it automatically opens. So I'd like you to see a rose quartz crystal in the heart chakra. It is a hematite rose quartz crystal, so it has some iron in it. It has some orangish colors in that rose quartz. And it is the most calming and grounding stone you have ever felt in your heart. Let that rest at the base of your heart chakra. It is one of the most.
Well, thank you for that very full spectrum guided meditation there. The first thing that occurs to me with that is maybe a little bit just on how working with the imagery or calling in those stones, how does that compare with actually putting stones on your body? Can it be as effective to just be invoking stones in specific places and chakras like that?
I think it's a point on the path. I will say that so much of the meaningful work I do with stones now is in their metaphysical form, actually.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's a point on the journey, and it's amazing. They can do so much work in that way.
Does it help to have some deeper relationship or connection point, like a physical touching or connection before you're doing that?
I would say so. I have when we work in intuitive classes, I often have people take foundational classes first to really get in there with the physicality and understand the stones in their material form.
Huh. It's really fascinating. And so is that, since that was a kind of a full system one, would you recommend that it's almost like a daily meditation or something that you repeat somewhat regularly to kind of harmonize your whole system?
Yeah, I think that is a great thing to practice, those stones in those places. So you can do that with frequency, the way that we did it, and or you can actually get these stones and do that same chakra layout with these stones, and it's going to be really healing. So you
Hmm.
could do it within and without. So I think that lineup that we did is something that I didn't make it up. I'll tell you that. It's the
Mhm.
art.
You had some bossy stones telling you about that.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
so you had mentioned there's adaptogenic effects as well in terms of maybe share a little bit about how these can mimic adaptogenic herbs and working with their nervous system to kind of build resilience and around stress as well.
Yeah, I see adaptogens as like something that just raises our threshold for stress. And I also see them as, so what made us feel stressful 3 months ago just doesn't make us feel stressful anymore. It's like we can handle more. And Amazonite and the hematoid rose quartz, which I didn't actually get to talk about that much, but that's another one that I would call an adaptogen, which means like it's almost like a superfood. Like you could work with it eternally and it's going to share eternal energy. It's just tapped into something that is forever good. It has to do with the crystal structure, the color, the chemical composition, and often what these stones impart. The chemical composition, the materials in these stones is a big part of it, the frequencies that they call in. It's almost like a very specific antenna, every stone is.
Hmm.
And so that antenna calls in specific possibilities from the field of all possibility. Some of it we can't name, like we don't understand why it works that way yet, and some of it we can.
That's truly fascinating. I like this image that each they're like antenna to the larger field as well. Are there aspects of that that help with visualization or sort of just like almost like they just do it naturally to kind of call in those energies, or is there anything you can do to kind of enhance that sense of calling in a wider field of energy for each?
You know what we're honestly what we're trained to do, and this is so simple, but if you go within and close your eyes and just train yourself to see something very simple, like a blue triangle, and just hold that and see how long you can hold it. Internal alchemy is like if you can build that up to you are actually focusing on the blue triangle for up to 20 minutes, you have these massive shifts inside where you can sense all kind of things coming in and the field of possibility and beings coming through these Daoist doorways, right? To from other timelines, dimensions, realities to get in touch with you. Um, and that's we train and focus. So just seeing something really simple from the inside will just open your third eye.
Hmm. So a lot of people work specific, like make a differentiation, mainly working with crystals for their kind of ability to kind of activate healing energy. And so do you want to share anything just about differentiating between stones and crystals, or they're all kind of a spectrum of different qualities or different ways of working with the subset of stones that are crystals?
Yeah, I think we use crystals a lot when we're working on something spiritual. So I think a basic way to look at that would be like we might use a stone, like just a rough stone from the earth, if we're working with something more physical or if we're coming in that way. Now, if we're working on something quite spiritual, like we want to imprint something new into the DNA or release something out of the DNA or seed a new program, crystals, because especially the whole crystal, inside a whole crystal, there's always a soul, there's a spirit inside that whole crystal, and it's always linked to the singularity too, or the 0 point energy field. So whole crystals have these effects on us that are spiritual and can be very transcendental. And stones are, I think when people think of stones, they think of something like a rock that is microcrystalline. It still has, 90% of the rocks on Earth are silicate. So it still has tons of tiny little quartz crystals in it,
Hmm.
tons of tiny little silicates in it. And so some of the biggest things that have ever happened just with regular rocks and stones too. So that's one brief way of distinguishing them.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
there's just so many different things that areas we could go into with this, and I just wanted to invite you, anything you haven't covered yet that you're really wanting to make sure to get across here today.
Yeah, I think we're starved for a new way of looking at crystal healing. We got so much in the 70s and 80s when all the channeled books came out. Like, I wouldn't be here without them. And still, I think what we're ready for is a grounded way of doing this that we can stand on a foundation that links us, just like herbal medicine, to classifications and constituents and how all of these things create vibrational realities. They become vibration, and we can have the most magical experiences in the world when we really kind of balance science with spirit and we balance knowledge with intuition. And I think that's what we're hungry for. And that's what I'm going to keep doing until I'm gone. I'm just going to
Mhm.
stand with one foot in each place and be like, stones are amazing, good medicine. And I want to
Hmm.
help bring that back. So if
Hmm.
you're hungry for that, a grounded conversation along with something that's, more magical than you've ever experienced, like that, that's something that is possible.
I love that. So it's almost like there was this kind of first wave where got a little bit more ethereal with all the crystals, and now it's like time to kind of get the root systems in place, which you're really advocating and helping to do. So that's very cool
Yeah.
perspective.
It's a rare too. It's rare that people get this. So thanks for
Yeah,
giving me the opportunity.
great. Well, I want to
Yeah.
spend some time talking more explicitly about your upcoming program, since clearly you have a lifetime of study and practice to share with people about this very grounded approach that really is all chakras, grounding and elevating at the same time. And so, really beautiful work. So, the program that Sarah's going to be teaching for Shift is called Taoist Doorways into the Wu. Ancient Chinese healing practices with stones and crystals for physical health and spiritual awakening. You can find it at crystalstonemedicine.com, crystalstonemedicine.com. It's a 7-week program. You don't have to have any background in this area. It's just if you have a curiosity or the sense of leaning in or a little internal guidance that is pulling you in this direction, you are warmly welcome to join. And Sarah, I'd love for you to start us off by sharing a little bit more about your intentions for this program and what people can come away with. And then let's take a little tour of what's going to be happening.
Yeah, I love how you started with, this can be a beginner's course if you're like, I have waited to take a stone and crystal class until I felt like something with depth was there. This is that course and this is that opportunity. And it's also if you've been involved in crystal healing for a long time, this is an opportunity to come back and get these foundations. Man, these foundations are rare. They trace back to ancient lineages. And something happens when we, take all of our experience and where we are, and then we pull in these deeper foundations. And like I said, gain a deeper relationship with these foundational stones. There's something happens there where we just take off. I mean, it has been quantum learning happening around me. Like we bring all the pieces together, people just take off. And it's all about really being able to help yourself and other with these stones in a way that's totally magical. I created this training with the idea of going back to the origin of stone medicine, really going back way, way back to the origin of stone medicine. So instead of new age, it's going to be old age. We're going to go way, way back and trace it back, start at the very seed that began this, and then take a walk that is really, now lineage has knowledge. Shamanism or the woo moves into like the pathless path, or this place where we begin again to rely on our own intuition and our own relationship with the stones. So in every single class, we're going to straddle those two. There's going to be knowledge and there's going to be awakening to your direct relationship with stones. There's something that you hear and you know that nobody else is going to hear or know. It's about your unique frequency meeting with this medicine and then kind of taking off.
Love that. I love that it's going deep into the old age and not just the new age. So module 1 is called Explore the Ancient Origins of Stone Medicine and Harness the Ultimate Power of Quartz.
Yeah, actually, this class is so packed. I love it. You'll get used to stone medicine is dense, right? And so are these classes. They're so informational. There's so much knowledge. By the end of the class, you will know the story of ancient stone medicine, and it is cool. By the end of the class, you will be doing a treatment with quartz on yourself that is something that you can use forever. It's something that you can use on yourself or with others forever. It's such a foundational treatment, regulates, balances all 12 meridians, and is a perfect mix between knowledge and intuition. So this is where we get the foundations and the story behind us.
Module 2, Return to the Source of All Things with Hematite to activate the woo in your own heart.
Yeah, we got to talk about hematite a little bit today. So this is where we dive into the woo. We named the class really after module 2. This is going to be an excellent week where for the first time I'll really tell you the story of the woo. And the thing about the woo is it's alive in all of us. A woo is somebody who travels multidimensionally. So this is where we tap into that, and you're going to see how hematite is a stone that is at the source of all things. And this class is really about going within.
Module 3, Awaken Self-Love with Mica and the Ritual Creation of Healing Stone Elixirs.
Mica, a foundational stone, again, that is a stone that is incredible for self-love. And self-love is the path of the healer. It's the core of the healing path for ourselves and others. And in this class, we're going to learn to make a proper stone medicine elixir. So we're going to branch into this vibrational application of making elixirs that is quite like Bach flower essences. So it's a big class. It's a big leap forward. It's a big evolution. And we're really going to tune into the mica.
Module 4, Shadow Work, Protections, and the Unparalleled Power of Obsidian for Cleansing and Transformation.
Yes. So mica gives us a light mirror, and obsidian gives us a dark mirror. And this allows us to take a walk through the shadow world and the underworld with protection and with power. So we're actually going to talk about ghosts, entities, attachments, and some of the spiritual origins of disease. And by the end of this class, you'll be doing a powerful clearing on yourself, transmutation of dense energy with obsidian that you can use forever as well.
That's truly fascinating. Module 5 is called Create Emotional Freedom and Harness the Healing Power of Color with Fluorite.
In module 5, you will learn an entire modality of color for emotional change. So this is when we work with the color of stones to relate to anxiety, grief, repressed emotions, suppressed emotions, fear. And color is so powerful. When people pick up stones, they're getting attracted to the stone vibrationally. They don't pick it up by accident. And color is a huge part of that. So we're going to move into if anxiety or healing grief or something is your thing, this is going to be a huge class for you. Fluorite comes in all colors. So we're going to let it just open us up to this.
Module 6, Light the Cauldron of Transformation and Alchemy with Pyrite to create lasting change where you need it.
So pyrite is a little cauldron. It is like a little iron cauldron with a sulfur fire burning inside of it. It is pure alchemy. It is pure change. It is pure transformation. It's one of the most powerful stones out there that people don't talk about a lot because they're like, oh, it's fool's gold. It's actually a master alchemist. And in this class, we're going to talk about how to create alchemy in the body with specific grids with pyrite to create change and transformation.
And finally, module 7, initiate a flash of your illumination of destiny with labradorite to remember your sacred purpose.
So it is said in ancient Chinese medicine that the lowest form of healing is fixing symptoms, and the highest form of healing is to help somebody see why they came here. And we all come here with purpose. And when we get to see why we came here, when we see those true purposes, they are breathtaking. They will make us cry. They go so far beyond what we do for our job or anything like that. They are truly breathtaking. And labradorite is a stone that is known to create a flash in the kidneys where our destiny is stored. So we're going to culminate everything with this flash of illumination and remembering our unique essence and why we're here. But we're also going to build a dreaming grid in that class.
You cover a lot of terrain. It's going to be an amazing program. And I feel like each module getting a window into a whole new way of understanding these worlds. Well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Sarah, for putting together such a comprehensive distillate of all of your decades of work and study in this realm and making it available. So again, the whole program is laid out in detail at crystalstonemedicine.com. As I mentioned, it's a 7-week live program, so you can ask your questions live of Sarah during the 7 90-minute segments. And you'll also have a chance to have the recordings, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts, so you can go back and catch up on anything you missed, do the practices, and really add this to your transformational library for years to come. You'll also get some weekly practices for home. There's a Facebook community to support you and deepen your community around the world around this work. And there's also some special bonuses on the page that really enhance your journey in some unique and beautiful ways. There's a video teaching from Sarah called How to Build a Taoist Magic Circle. That sounds intriguing. Share a little bit more about the Taoist Magic Circle.
Yeah, sure. It's a really easy to build actual portal that you can build inside or outside, and it is going to be your connection place with the earth. And it's actually a fifth dimensional technology. And when we start to interface with the earth, we can do really special things inside that circle, including cleansing and recharging all of our stones.
Very cool. There's also you get a 10% off the Doorways into the Woo collection. This is going to give you a coupon code for minerals from the Doorways into the Woo course collection. So specific stones and crystals that you want to be working with, you're going to get a discount. And you want to share anything about that particular sourcing of that, Sarah?
Yeah, we put together these kits and we put together these individual stones because I've been doing this forever. And students, it's hard for me to talk about a stone and then a student say, where do I get that? And me say, well, it's inaccessible, you can't. So I supply these stones. Every single one goes through my hands. I pick them all out and I supply them for students. So we're making a collection for this class specifically. And so you'll always have a resource for rare, powerful, they're also ethical and real stones that aren't heat treated or dyed.
Amazing. That's a great extra reason to join right there. There's one special extra bonus that folks get when you sign up by midnight tonight. This is our way to really encourage you to tune in now. And if you're feeling sparked or intuitively guided or wanting to lean in or just curious, you get an extra bonus for signing up today. This is called Creating Clear Energetic Protections with Stones. It's a whole video course from Sarah. You want to share more about that, Sarah?
Yeah, this is an amazing course about protections, which are boundaries, which are standing up and claiming our space. And in these places, in these courses, we're actually we show you how to create stone grids for your rooms or for your home that create protections. And they're really simple stone grids and they're things that people have been doing for a long time. And there's a few other cool things in the course, like how do you place a stone at your front door correctly for protection. So this is like it's moving into the feng shui applications of stone medicine.
Whole another realm that can open up with this feng shui applications. Well,
Yeah.
so cool. Sarah, this has been super illuminating and we're really excited for this program. We've kept it very accessible in terms of the investment. It's just 3 payments of $128, or you save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to begin July 24th and run Wednesdays at 1 Pacific, 4 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings and the transcripts and participate in the community as well. And there's some great testimonials on the page about Sarah and her work. I think you can imagine that just from the hour we've already had, like the level of wisdom and depth that she's bringing forward. So again, it's all at crystalstonemedicine.com, and you're going to get that special bonus if you sign up today. It's called Creating Clear Energetic Protections with Stones. So, Sarah, really illuminating hour and such fascinating information that I haven't heard elsewhere. So, really great. Thank you. And anything that's still on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering going deeper into the deep dive with you here in the upcoming program?
Yeah, I would just love to let you know it's like an ego-free zone. It is a judgment-free zone. We hang out and it is intimate like this. I'm just in my space sharing with you. We have people that have studied in China for 20 years and people that are just beginning in classes. And it's like we all are just this community coming together to talk about stones. And it's a safe place, it's a transformative environment. And just wherever you are in the path, like if you're feeling the call, it's going to be a beautiful container.
I'm sure it will. So thank you, Sarah. Your depth and authenticity and integrity just radiates out from you. So thank you for all the wisdom that you've gathered for us and for sharing some of that here today and for sharing much more in the Taoist Doorways into the Woo upcoming program. And for those who want to join again, you can find all the details at crystalstonemedicine.com, and you'll get the special bonus of that full mini course on creating clear energetic protections with stones. So thank you so much, all, and look forward to seeing many of you in the upcoming program. And thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for giving me the space to share.